Hi, welcome to Scriptures Unveiled. We are talking about the human consciousness and the divine consciousness. And in our last video, we talked about Peter and how we saw that Jesus was washing his feet, and Peter, rejected that washing, and washing is to be teachable. So today we're going to be talking about, through Peter's life, we see the separated or the perceived separated ego. And today we're going to be talking about how Peter is seen in the separated ego, which is an illusion of cutting off or chopping off the ear of one of the soldiers, as it represents him fighting.
Yep. So anyways, we're going to read from John 18:10. And so I'll read that scripture. So it's Simon Peter, therefore, having a sword, drew it and struck the high priest's slave and cut off his right ear. And the slave's name was Malchus. Now that's interesting.
Yes.
The slave name, they put it in this scripture. And that's one reason I picked this one, or we picked it.
Yes.
Malchus, actually, his name means king or reigning.
Yes.
So Malchus was a high priest slave, and this actually represents that we, the high priests, because we have been made the high priests, are a slave.
Yes.
So meaning we're slave to what?
Yes.
The illusion of the separated ego.
Absolutely.
And so we do not know, our true being.
Yes, you're so right. And Peter actually chopping off the right ear, because right in scriptures is mostly defined as our divine self. The right side is a picture of our intuitive, of us living from within. And the left side is normally defined as the intellect,
Right.
The brain, the human side of us. So Peter chopping off the right ear literally represents what I call that war against ourselves by not hearing our divine nature from within. Literally by him just chopping off the right and leaving the left, which is the intellect, just the human consciousness. It is him coming at war against himself to hear the divinely within. And it's awesome because actually it was one of Jesus' last miracle, because you see how Jesus restored the ear. Because Jesus came here as an example to reveal who we are.
Yeah, it's to reveal our divinity.
It is to reveal that divine nature within us. And so that was his last miracle, to actually restore, because that was Jesus' purpose, is to restore that divinity so that we could live from the divine within us.
Wow.
Yeah.
And so Peter, he took the sword. So in the Greek, the word sword means I engage in battle.
Oh, wow.
So that's isn't that cool?
Yeah.
So I engage in battle. In Matthew 26:51, Jesus said, he referred to the same incident, but he said, if you live by the sword, you'll die by the sword. So Peter, drew that sword.
That's the
and
word.
The word drew in the Greek is to persuade, to draw in, focusing on the attractive power with that drawing in.
Yeah.
And so that's picturing an outward battle that draws us in.
It does.
And it distracts us from that inward.
It does.
And these outward battles can be anything from spiritual warfare to wars in the world, or the nation, or personal life wars.
Absolutely.
And it really is like all these things outward are a distraction for
all the concerns in this world. Yep.
Yeah. And it just causes us fear. So
it does. And that word strike is to inflict wound or punishment upon himself.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. And so I love that, because that is an example of Peter in that fight mode, where when he strike, he's actually inflicting a wound or a punishment.
Wow.
And it's upon himself.
Yeah.
Because remember that perfect love, which is that human consciousness and the divine consciousness bridging together as one, where the divinity is expressed through our humanity, that perfect love cast out fear.
Right.
And it's casting out fear of what? Fear of punishment.
Right.
Yes.
Which comes from that separated ego, that false ego.
Yeah, that illusion.
That illusion
of separation.
Right. Fear.
Yes.
So, and I love that that love casts out that fear. It's beautiful.
Me too.
So, anyways, that's what our representation of the sword and the ear. And so that divine process that's going on to bring down that separated ego.
Yes.
So thank you.
To end that war.
Yeah, to end that war.
I call it the war of the worlds, where you have the humanity against the divinity.
Yes.
There is no war.
Yes. And so next time we're going to talk about the rooster crowing. So thank you for joining us. If you'd like to make a comment, subscribe, or hit the like button, we appreciate it.
Thanks.